Let's talk about Stonewall, where they might as well be dead, which is very good news, to say the least. Everyone rejoice. Take a sip from your beer. And we'll just start this off by mentioning the podcast here, the premium podcast me and Carl did on the origins of intersectionality, and why this completely destroyed Stonewall from within, which I'm very pleased about. I mean, we've covered previously the madness that Stonewall's been in. I mean, you may remember when their own head said being a TERF is it's the equivalent of being a neo-Nazi. They said it was the same as having anti-Semitic views, and therefore shouldn't be allowed to have a job if you believe that women exist.
Sounds very Stonewall.
Yeah, I mean, it was actual madness. They said this on the BBC, and then they immediately lost a lot of face, and that's when Liz Truss stepped in to defund them.
I think didn't I tell you last time that I work on our show with Simon Fanshawe, the co-founder of Stonewall, who left because it was getting too crazy, and he's the most left person I've ever seen. And as you pointed out, what does that mean they're even saying in private? Must be even worse that he's hearing.
Absolutely.
The mind boggles.
And, well, you can see some of it play out in the public sphere, because you may remember this story a couple of days ago, which I'm going to go over again, because, I mean, this really is sort of the tweet that is the final nail in their coffin, I think, after all the bad press they've been through, just on the public side. And as you can see, Stonewall saying, a research suggests that children as young as 2 recognize their trans identity. Yet many nurseries and schools teach a binary understanding of a pre-assigned gender. Why are you doing this? What's wrong with you? Like, are you actually sick?
Yeah.
2-year-olds can be trans. Trust us, we've proved it with tests. No one believes you. No one believes you in the slightest. And this obviously didn't go down well. They link a story in here. I don't know if you read the article, the Metro article.
Yeah.
But the story there was of a woman who says that she's a man and was getting mad because she had a child and she wanted that daughter of hers to be a boy, and she wasn't doing it. So that's what made her upset, because, she'd become a man, and therefore she wanted the kid to become a man, which, tells you that it was the child's idea. 100%. Anyway, got a bit of a backlash for saying that 2-year-olds should be transed. Good. Small mercies. And they released a statement saying, whoopsie. Oopsie poopsie.
Yeah.
We look terrible. We look like a bunch of sickos.
My favourite bit was on Friday we put out a tweet that was unclear. I'm like, oh, it was clear, bro. It was clear. And that was the problem.
That's why you got the backlash.
Yep. It was the clarity of how you wanted to trans 2-year-olds that was the issue. And they misjudged it to me. I said they went too soon with the open pedo grift. I'll say the Overton Window's a couple of weeks off that becoming mainstream. Do you know what I mean? They went a bit early on that one. We're not quite there yet, guys. We're not quite at trans 2-year-olds. They tested the water. Not quite there.
I think they saw that Posey Parker had been visited by the police for being untoward about paedophiles.
Oh, yeah.
Thought, this is our moment.
Yes, strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah, it wasn't your moment, thankfully, and never will be, because the fuck... Sorry about that. It's hard not to swear, because what on earth is wrong with you when you're promoting transitioning 2-year-olds? Yeah. But there we have it. I mean, it's finally, okay, they're just putting their hands up and saying, yep, we're sick, which, good. We'll go to the statement itself, because they tried to defend themselves in here, which is, they say in here, quote, what research were you referring to? Asking themselves. They respond, the tweet was paraphrasing research mentioned in the article, but studies of trans adults that ask when they first experience gender dysphoria finds that significant numbers have their first memory of this feeling between the ages of 2 and 4. Right, so you can have dysphoria between the ages of 2 and 4. Or up. That's what Stonewall is saying, which is you can have that dysphoria at the age of 2. Meaning, well, you might as well say that transgenderism can be found in 2-year-olds. I mean, that's what that logic leads to. Doesn't mean you commit the surgery, but it means you're mentally preparing the person, as the parent in that story was. They were upset their daughter wasn't a boy, and were trying to get them to be a boy from the ages, I think it was 4.
But there's also a huge gap between what they wrote in the tweet, which is that you can have trans identity at 2, versus someone saying, oh, I recall a vague feeling between 2 and 4 that I felt like this.
Yeah.
Whereas in the tweet, they were just saying you can have a trans identity at 2.
But you can see that they're telling you that feeling means that they were trans at 2. But as soon as they've been caught out and that sounds terrible, they go, oh, wait, I mean something else. Martin Bailey here, in which they want to avoid the conversation. But they continue, do you think that children as young as 2 can identify as trans? No, they write. It was wrong to suggest that children as young as 2 know they're trans. Okay, maybe you have some sense. I mean, this contradicts your own statement, but see where it goes. What this should have expressed is that many trans people first experience gender dysphoria at a young age, but that does not mean that the children know they are trans. The children.
Yeah.
The adults may know they're trans, the 2-year-olds, because the 2-year-olds had gender dysphoria. Trust us. Don't ask the kid. But I know. It's not like I've told him to do this. But instead, the children can't recognize it, but the parents can, or the adults in the room can, which is exactly what the article was about. The parent knew, in quotes, that their kid was a boy and was trying to help them transition to become a boy mentally.
Yeah, and that's terrible. And somehow the original tweet was so much worse even than that. That's the impressive thing.
Yeah, but
the climb down is not that great either.
No, I mean, but that's what I mean by it's again Mott and Bailey. They're trying to hide their position. They're like, whoa, we don't believe the kids know they're trans at that age, but the adults do. So don't worry about it. We can still transition them. It's just sick, like actual sick in here. But they continue saying that. Do you think that children should be taught about trans identities at nursery age? What do you think about that? Think they should? Think it's any of their business?
I'm going no.
Yeah, I would too. But they say, for primary school age children, this might mean, for example, learning that some children have two mummies, some have two daddies. It might mean not forcing children to conform to stereotypes, and it might mean challenging bullying that relates to perceived difference. Well, that was an obvious dodge. They didn't answer the question. Do you think you should teach them this? Well, we think that you should teach kids about bullying and mummies and daddies. You didn't answer it at all. So you do. You do think that nursery age kids should be taught about trans identities. We know you do. So again, what's with the stupid hide?
Yeah, they say here primary schools in England are encouraged to do so.
Yeah.
Encouraged.
By who? Who could possibly be doing such the encouraging? They continue saying, do you think that young children should access transition-related healthcare? And they write, no. Stonewall supports existing NHS medical pathways for trans young people, as if there are such a thing, to access support from the NHS. To be clear, nobody can access surgery on the NHS until they are adults. And we support this. It's like, I don't buy it. Number one, I don't buy that you genuinely believe that they shouldn't have the surgeries below the age of, let's say, 18, whatever it is, which I'm pretty sure it's not. It's actually 16, so fantastic. But also just the idea that, whoa, we're only mentally preparing them to transition. We're only making them pre-made for the op. So we're not actually doing the op on them, so this is fine. No, you're sick.
Yeah, that last bit did sound suspiciously normal for Stonewall. I'm like, no, you don't think this. Exactly what I thought.
No, but also by their own admission, they're saying, yes, we should, pre-make the children, understanding that they're a boy, not a girl.
Yeah.
Trust us. And when they reach adult, then they can have the surgery.
Yeah, we're waiting. Yeah. Stonewall's waiting for you to turn 18 like some creep.
Literally, like reversed. But they're grooming the kids from that age. I mean, by their own words, they think they should be aware of these things. And that's the story they gave you. I mean, literally, the Metro article is exactly what that was. However, this isn't the only bad news. I mean, it's pretty bad news.
Can I just add one thing? Because I think we're going to go past it. I think they said in that piece, we believe that young children should be able to play, explore, and learn about who they are and the world around them without having adults' ideas imposed upon them. But that's mental already, really.
Sorry, who do you think's imposing ideas on the kids that they're a boy?
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. The adults are imposing the ideas on them. But that's a sort of Rousseauian idea anyway, as if they would just sort of crap everywhere, go to bed whenever they want, eat anything. No, the parents are going to impose things, but they're supposed to impose wholesome, good things, not twisted, weird things that are going to mess the kid up in later life.
You're meant to help your child, not, debauch them.
Yeah.
It's generally the advice, but Stonewall don't get that, it seems. And you might think that would be, I mean, that really is, I think, and the reason I've laboured on it is because that tweet really is the end of them. I mean, even in parliamentary life, I've seen loads of MPs, even Westminster Conservatives are like, yeah, these guys are sick. I don't want to be anything to do with them. And even Labour types have been moving on from them as well because they don't want to be associated with, what looks like noncery, trying to transition 2-year-olds. The hell's wrong with you? Even if just mentally? I mean, I have a word for that. It's called grooming, in case you're wondering. However, it's not the only bad news. There's some more bad news that came out with them today, which is fantastic. As you can see here, so this is Allison Bailey, who was suing Stonewall and her employer because she believed that women exist. She got fired and then had to sue. Sorry, just the way you described the West, just how it is. And she won in her employment tribunal, finding, as she says here, that Garden Court Chambers discriminated against me because of my gender-critical belief when it published a statement that I was under investigation and in upholding Stonewall's complaint against me.
Yeah, basically, she's a co-founder of the LGB Alliance. Garden Court Chambers decided they didn't like that. They're advised by Stonewall. They tweeted some stuff about her. They got sued. And we covered it last night on GB. She won 22 grand off them.
It's just great to hear.
Yeah.
But it's, again, the company was advised by Stonewall to do this.
And that's the key.
They did it. However, they do say in here that the tribunal protected her opinion, of course, but also the Employment Tribunal ordered Garden Court Chambers to pay damages, the money as you said. However, she lost her case against Stonewall but I have succeeded in exposing Stonewall's conduct and the enormous malign influence it wields in the workplace and society more generally. So, I mean, that's the funny thing, because Stonewall can't be blamed for the advice they gave, but the employer can be blamed for carrying it out.
Right.
That's what the court ruled, or at least the employment tribunal ruled here, which is hilarious, and obviously means that anyone who is taking Stonewall's advice should be absolutely essing themselves.
Yeah, because they can lose a huge amount of money and it won't even get blamed on Stonewall, as you said.
They'll literally walk away with the money you paid them and go, good luck.
Yeah. Why do you listen to us? We say all sorts of crazy stuff. Have you not seen our tweets?
Yeah. We transition kids while you're having us around. So there you have it. And the continued fallout from this is hilarious. If you go to the next link here, you can see Julie Bindel writing, remember, any employer that follows Stonewall's law is at risk of breaking the actual law and could end up in an employment tribunal. Stonewall is absolutely finished. I mean, this is their main source of income, is grifting money from companies saying, we'll put you at the top of the charts for diversity employment.
Yes, if you pay us to learn how to get to the top of that chart.
Yeah.
Stephen Nolan, I've said it before, he exposed all of it on the BBC podcast. He exposed how they do it, and you should go and listen to that if you haven't. If only, as I've said, for the bit where he says to the head of Pink News, what is gender queer? And he goes, I couldn't give you a definition. Like, oh, you don't know Pink News what gender queer? Well, then why are we doing any of this?
No. We covered it as well. It is hilarious because there was his name, Benjamin or something, the CEO of Pink News.
Yeah, Benjamin Cohen, is it?
Completely breaks down.
Yeah.
This guy from Norway is just like, you normal? What's wrong with you? But the news from this is, of course, obviously hilarious because Stonewall, you think, would take the L. No. They decided to put out, we are pleased that Stonewall has not been found to have instructed, caused, or induced garden court chambers to discriminate against Allison. It's like, right. So you literally threw the company under the bus. They got screwed. And then you're dancing on the grave being like, I can't believe we got away with this. Yeah.
Big win.
Terrible PR, to say the least, you would have thought. However, not some MPs, at least Labour MPs. They took this well for some reason. I mean, I saw you thought this was a parody account. It's not. This is Dawn Butler. We've covered her many a time.
Always have to check with Dawn Butler. She's got all the emojis. Like, is it actually Dawn Butler or a parody Dawn Butler?
Yeah.
It was real.
I still remember the funniest thing from her is when she tried to claim that she was being discriminated against because she was pulled over by the police. Her white husband was driving, but she was pulled over because she was black in the passenger. No, it's just, it was mad. But she says in here, congratulations and solidarity to Stonewall, who have won their case. I was like, well, they didn't. They've proven that they won't ever defend anyone they advise. They've endured relentless abuse, harassment, and misinformation for 2 years, but still kept going.
Yeah, and that made me think, like, is that a good thing? Like, what other people have endured abuse and kept going, just kept going? I was thinking, like, the T-1000, R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein. She's saying, like, it's a good thing they kept going. It's like, no, evil keeps going sometimes. Not good, is it?
Yeah, 100%. If we go forward, some other memes I saw people responding to this with. Stonewall, we won. Everyone. What about the employer? Stonewall, they were found guilty. Everyone. What were they guilty of? Of following our advice, of course. Good luck. I mean, this is the end of their revenue stream. If they're not even going to be held account for their own crap advice, well, literally, in this case, illegal advice as well. And the fact that they now want to transition 2-year-olds. Because if you go to the next one here, this is obviously the point people have made. I mean, this is just the end of their entire organization, which, good. And it isn't even the beginning of the end, because you may remember, of course, the government started defunding them massively because of Liz Truss, which glory to her for this aspect. If you go to the next story here, please, John, we can see that, was it 1.2 million taxpayers' money still going from the Foreign Office?
Yeah, and as Andrew Dole said in his brilliant monologue the other day, between 2018 and 2021, they received over £3 million in taxpayers' money.
Yeah. And thankfully, thanks to Liz Truss, she got, £500,000 completely cut off from them in a single year, which, good work. Still more to do, of course, as you can see there. However, if you go to the next one, there's also the Scottish government paying them loads of money. I don't think that's ever going to stop. The SNP.
So that's it. As I said, I think before, there's 327 public bodies still buying into this diversity champion scheme, which is absolute nonsense. House of Lords, SNP, as you just said, Labour, Greens, the Treasury. Does that bother you? They're quite important, some of those.
Not so much the Greens in Parliament, I have heard.
Yeah.
But, I've just added one more link, John, if you can add it up. I've got to add it in, because the most hilarious aspect of this is also the fact that, of course, the writers have distanced themselves from all this. Being like, these people want to transition kids. It's just sake. We're not engaging with this. However, there is one response I've seen from a leftist, which is a parliamentary candidate for the Labour Party, who decided that they would also distance themselves And this is where I think the real impact is as well, that even in left-wing organizations, they're like, oh, crap, we need to leave because this is bad. And this is a left-wing parliamentary candidate. As you can see there, they've got the racial pride flag in the background of their Twitter bio. And one day, they put out that they were on the boards of Stonewall, hashtag he, him at the bottom there. And then the next day, Labour and Cooperative parliamentary candidate, Stonewall, never heard of him. He, him, I don't know why. Don't worry. They deleted it.
I did see this. I saw that Stonewall had gone. I didn't know he also got rid of he, him. I mean, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Are they going to start ditching the pronouns?
Maybe.
How are we going to know who the mental people are?
I don't think we'll still be able to see Labour, so I mean, that works.
Oh, yeah.
But there you have it, which is just good news there as well. At least the impact is interesting, to say the least. However, there is one more piece of good news there, which is the Tories have done a Tory thing, at least. If we go back to the Telegraph here, you can see that ministers have actually blocked some Stonewall chairman from getting a job in a watchdog here. £195,000 a year position he was going to get. And then they tweeted out stuff about transitioning 2-year-olds, and even the Westminster Tories went, well, hang on. Why would we give this guy money? Why would we help him in the slightest? They also gave a quote, we just persuaded them to stop paying Stonewall. The last thing we need is a chief executive who's a paid-up supporter.
Yep.
Yeah. Very basic.
And that's when you're really in trouble, when you're too woke for the Conservative Party.
Yeah.
That's when you've really jumped the shark, isn't it?
The Labour Party have already distanced themselves. But even the Conservatives have said that it's too much. But I suppose that's all that, and that's good news. And I thought we'd end on just some Donald Trump, just to enjoy ourselves as well. Because in this vein, as you can see, this was a speech that Vice News put out trying to show him as a bad guy. And they say in here he's helping his supporters by going after trans people. I'll let you be the guess of if this makes him look bad or not, I suppose. Let's play his jokes.
You know the guy. He was named Female Athlete of the Year. Did you know that? It's true. He was just named female. We're not dealing with things that are so easy here, Newt. This is a difficult, crazy world. You'd almost say, is the world going crazy? Because 99% of the things I'm saying are common sense. But she looks over and sees her friends down there, and then she looks, and this guy is massive. He's got a wingspan. He's got arms that are 30 feet long. And they always say, and she was seriously injured during the meet because he swam so fast that he gave her major wind burn as he went by her. And she didn't break the record, but he broke the record that day. You know what the number was? 38 seconds. So she wanted to break it by 1/8 of a second, and he broke it by 38 seconds. And her mother and father are screaming, you got it. You got it, darling. I'm so proud of my girl. Well, she couldn't do it. And then this guy comes along. He's named Alice. And he looks at the weight. World record. We could have put another couple of 100 pounds on. I think he would have lifted her. I'd be the greatest women's basketball coach in history. Because I don't like LeBron James. I like Michael Jordan much better. But I'd go up to LeBron James. It doesn't matter. I'd say, LeBron, did you ever have any desire to be a woman? Because what I'd love you to do is star on my team that I'm building up. I will have the greatest team in history. They'll never lose. Nobody will come within 70 points of this team.
I love it. I love the fact
Unbelievable.
you've got the audience. I mean, it's like a comedy club.
Yeah, that's high-level stand-up.
Yeah.
That's like Billy Connolly in his prime. That's like a Bill Burr bit.
Yeah.
I go up to LeBron. Hey, you be a woman on my team? He's absolutely slaying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolute gold. And I love how Vice News put that out to be like, oh my God, look how terrible. Like, you wouldn't vote for him, would you? Like, hell yeah, I'll pay to go see the show.
So they could have at least like taken off the laughter, or they could have like
put some
doctored it a
evil
little
music
bit.
in the background.
Yeah. He's like, hey, you're showing it absolutely slaying that Alice bit, the timing. I'm just thinking it going, oh, vote Trump. I mean, I was just looking at it thinking,
Trump.
yeah. Let's book Trump. Let's vote for him. I was just thinking DeSantis could be in trouble because he's just not that funny. Like, no one's as funny as Trump.
I mean, he's certainly got something to him, but I thought that just be that. I mean, that is where the public conversation is. I mean, we have these lunatics in Stonewall. I mean, just absolute sickos. But I mean, that's where everyone else is. Are you just laughing along at the clown world where we live in?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people get annoyed when I laugh a lot at the stories we cover. But I mean, it's because I'm at that level at this point where it's just like, it's Matt. I don't know what else to do but laugh
And
at this point.
That's always been Trump's thing, hasn't it? Just cutting through that stuff, the absolute nonsense of the excesses of PC or wokeness. That's it where he's strongest. He's been a bit weak on actually getting certain things done, certain walls that aren't as big and beautiful as they should be. But on that kind of stuff, he just slays. And he'll win again just on that.
If nothing else, I just love that you got Vice being like, look how terrible it is. We are in two different worlds if you think that makes him look bad. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast or the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as this premium video by Carl on Nietzsche's critique of critical race theory. If you want to follow what else he's putting out, you can follow him on Getter at @CarlBenjamin on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.